Hey y'all, many of you know that I consistently have weekly meetings with my partner, and that is what I coach to. That is what I recommend people do. And I wanted to share with you a reflection on the one that we just had today, September 5th, 2024. So I'm going to share with you kind of what the agenda looked like, what I did to prepare for it, how we actually had it to make it enjoyable and wanting to show up, and what conversations we had around it. So it started out with some of the work that I committed to doing the past couple weeks was doing a weekly budget. So historically, we've done monthly budgets in the past 8 months or so. We've really fallen off that. I've gotten overwhelmed, I think, as well as I've started my own business. So trying to figure out the finances of that and not just counting on a paycheck to show up at the same time every month or every week has been a change. So what I did the previous 45 minutes was looking at our bank account, going into our spreadsheet, plugging in the numbers so that I can check in on any of the purchases that we had. One of the things that I've recognized that I consistently do is that whenever she says, hey, can we afford to do this thing? She's always looking to me because I'm much more of a, use the word gatekeeper, I guess. I'm the emotional one, much more around money versus I think I'm a bit more frugal. She's a little bit less frugal. So oftentimes she's coming to me saying, hey, can we buy this thing? And she's often asking for, I think, permission also because I bring in more of the income as well as, she's considered getting part-time job as well to increase the amount that she makes. But I recognize that it's much more out of emotion than it is out of reality. So what I wanted to do is get better acquainted with it, and on a weekly basis, just look at the finances, see how things are doing. We have a multifamily house as well as we have a current residence. So one of the things that we have is we have two mortgages, but we also have rental payments. And so the first week of the month is a pretty heavy financial swing month, as we'll pay for a lot up front and we'll get more income than normal upfront. So I think, that first week of the month is always a little bit challenging. Just got to make sure that we have enough in the bank account upfront. So I recognize that I have a lot of emotional responses around money rather than logical ones. So I wanted to get more acquainted with the logic so that one of the things we recognize is we want to be able to account for, home maintenance costs. Like, hey, if we wanted to buy a weed whacker or a lawnmower or get something fixed, like consistently having money going towards that and or having a guilt-free fund, because I think both of us hate when we're just straight frugal, but having a little bit of money to be able to spend and or agreeing on that amount and not going over it, I think both helps us really not overspend and not be emotional with spending. So that was the first big main homework assignment I had, was doing the weekly budget rather than the monthly. The other one that we recognized about 2 weeks ago was that around spending on home renovations and things in and around the home, like improving the grass in the backyard, getting a mulch bed in the front, getting rid of the weeds, some of the tools that we don't have for it that I've been unwilling to spend on, and or she acknowledged and helped me see that she feels lonely, she feels hurt, that I do not care for these things the way that she does. And furthermore, because she cares about them and I'm not offering my own emotional labor, my own caring towards it, she is not feeling cared for in that as well. So one of the other things I promised to do is create a spreadsheet of just something small, but a handful of the things that I was thinking that she wanted to do in and around the home, so that she felt like I was on the same page with her around the things she wanted to accomplish. But also just identifying, like, is this going to take time or money or both? And I think realizing that some things just take time, some things we don't have to spend as much money, but they'll take more time on, and or like which things she really wants to have happen versus things that like are nice to have. Doing some of that work up front to identify the things that she cares about, I think she really appreciated. So I came to it. There are about 6 items on there. And what we actually ended up coming to was she felt guilty often asking for time to do them together. if it's chainsawing, if it's things that we have to make sure a toddler is not present for, and goes a lot quicker when we do it together. She requested, so because I work from home, because she works from home, she asked that we carve out 2 hours a week, at least up going towards winter, to do winter prep / domestic labor in and around the house, outside, inside, that's not cleaning. Because we already have a 90-minute period on Fridays that we just clean and get the house kind of ready for the weekend. Well, I guess that's branching into sort of what happened. So the agenda items were doing the core emotion wheel, talking about the budget, talking about the domestic labor in and around the house. And I think the emotion wheel went well. I think historically, sometimes it goes really long. We definitely acknowledged, I had my birthday last week, and we got a couple more alcoholic beverages in the house, or there was a lot more sugar in the house. And so it's funny, but a bender in my early 20s would have been binge drinking probably 5 to 15 drinks a day for like a week. For us, a bender is, I got a 12 pack and a 4 pack. So I guess consumed 16 of them over 4 days. So 4 drinks a day is a bender for me at this age, 34. Between the sugar and the alcohol, it felt like a bender. And so I went on a 24-hour fast this morning. It's been a hot button for us before, because I think she has worked on improving her body image and the way she sees herself, and fasting has been something that we've done before. And I recognized that I was wanting to go more than 36 hours that I originally committed to. She's like, why? And it was a hot button for her, because it felt like I was trying to like overachieve, or I was like trying to be competitive with her, because she's been doing intermittent fasting recently. And I recognize that it's something that, this is what came up in the emotion wheel, was that she felt guilt, shame, I think sadness and hurt around talking about it this morning. And it's historically something that I've wanted to do, but am always afraid to bring it up with her, because I'm afraid that she's too fragile for the conversation around it, that she'll feel emotional about it or something. So one of the things that we recognized was that I was creating her being fragile, creating that she was...
This is being a bitch.
This is my co-working space. John, can you mute yourself? It's right, he can't hear me. I'll have to jump back on in a minute. We acknowledged in the emotional wheel that was a hot button issue, and I think we did a good job earlier in the morning kind of completing it and talking with each other. And there was some incompleteness that I think we're able to accomplish by labeling some emotions, hearing each other out. I know both of us have gotten really good at coming emotionally prepared to that conversation, so that we're able to hear each other's hurt, we're able to hear each other's shame and loneliness and sadness, and not map it onto ourselves. So if she feels hurt or I feel hurt, I think we both do a good job hearing it out and hearing that person's experience without taking it personally. So I know that not all couples are there yet, so having the emotional wheel part of your weekly meeting, I know, is not where a lot of y'all belong. But I think the goal in my protocol is to start including that, and I think using it in the right way, where you're not sort of weaponizing it towards each other, which can easily happen. I think when we say, I felt hurt when you said X, Y, and Z, and you want the other person to hear and feel that and be hurt back by it, rather than regulating it for themselves so that they feel heard. So the emotion wheel went well. We identified some good things. Talking budget, we noticed 2 or 3 things that that she didn't realize that we had been spending on. And I think just doing the work, showing her that I'd done the work, and recognizing, okay, we're definitely a bit in the hole at the moment just because it's the beginning of the month, and the rental checks haven't come in yet. That was just good to acknowledge that we should be a little bit more careful until those rental checks come in, at least the next couple of days. And I think I also iteratively kind of called out as like, this is still a process. I think the goal is for me is empowerment over like having like negative emotions around things. I think the goal is for me to be in logic instead of in fear. So I think we're growing towards that. I still don't have a budget set up for guilt-free spending and or for home maintenance and things, but I think we're working our way towards that. I'm getting more confident even just in the data input, and being able to speak out loud how things are going. And we also kind of both recognize that she's consistently coming to me on weekends saying, hey, do we have budget to pay for this thing? So I think that when we are identifying that's the case, being able to say this is what our budget looks like on this day of the week, is really helpful. And I also originally requested, hey, I want to move our meeting back to Monday, versus she's like, we just hit our stride again with three weeks in a row doing this day. I don't really want to change it again. So I honored that and said, okay, all right, we won't change it from the day of the week. I think the last piece that I think was really valuable is we recognize that, so she's been going through a program where she's been out of the house consistently, and she really appreciated that program's over. And so she's like, okay, I think I need more time outside. I need more time like in and around peers, just not in the house. It's really good for me. And so I agreed with her, and we identified, okay, what do we want that to look like? So she's planning on going into Boston, which is where her hybrid work is, but it's like 98% remote. So she's going to plan on going in there every Tuesday. And we also recognize we like the idea of having me take over on childcare pickup on Tuesdays. I've been recognizing, she was recognizing that she felt lonely often, in that she was the sole person picking up at 3:30. And we like the idea of every other Tuesday being just me, and every other Tuesday, it being all three of us. And sometimes maybe it won't be with her, but I think having her almost monopolize that, or her be the sole person that does that, is probably not the greatest for our dynamic. I think it also helps force me to be more efficient with my time in the hours that I have throughout the week. So I really like that we came to that conclusion, as much as I know it took 90 minutes out of my work week, as well as we identified 2 hours that I'm going to work on domestic labor. At this moment, I know that she isn't asking necessarily for me to carry the mental load or emotional labor around doing domestic labor in and around the house outside of cleaning, but she does really appreciate that she has time, that she can expect my able-bodiedness, and like, I'm gonna move things, I'm gonna cut things, I'm gonna clean things, as much as I'm always careful to use the word help out around the house, she's gonna have me to help on the projects that she is running. So I've recognized that she owns full CPE of the goats. And so like just the simple thing of bring their hay up from the shed over to the barn. And I think that as we start looking at things, I'll probably start owning more of the conception, the planning, rather than just execution. But that was a huge one for her. And I think, again, it's leading us towards evolving. It's not a whole solution right now, but it's improving my feet in the door, my participation in those areas that she owns. So I think that's pretty good debrief. I think it was a good meeting overall. I would give it, I feel like I probably could have came prepared with 1 or 2 more bullets. I know one or two things that I've been wanting to bring up, but it felt like it didn't feel like the right time. Is we do timeouts with our toddler, and I don't love that we do timeouts, and I have not done enough research to be able to have like a new solution. So coming to the table and just saying, hey, I want to ditch timeouts, but I'm not sure what else we want to do when our toddler's acting up. And when I say timeouts, what that looks like is we sit her in one place, and we sit there with her and we set a timer for 2 minutes. So she's not going anywhere. We're right there in front of her, and we're just not interacting with her for 2 minutes and letting her calm down. And it almost always ends with a hug. So I don't like the way those have been going. At the same time, she's said, like, your gentle parenting, Zach, isn't working. And a lot of times I try to hear her out and be like, do you feel sad? Do you feel mad? And I have not done enough research to ask for us to implement something new. So I recognize that if I want to bring that to the table, I need to do work on it. Yeah. And I think the morning routine, I wish I had put on the agenda, because I think it hasn't been super clear who owns that first thing in the morning, and I want to improve the clarity that we have around that. So those are some things that I missed. I'll be adding them to the agenda for next week, and I hope this is valuable to you. If these are the things that you want to be talking about, you can join one of the free groups in the bottom here. If you click the link below, it'll bring you to the school community, Fair Play Families, where I share this kind of information. And if you're a guy that wants a little bit more of a safe space for guys to talk about things, learn mental load basics is where I put I work with a lot of guys and try to give them feedback to better understand things, as I know that my comment section are not always the kindest place. So I look forward to hearing what you guys think of this meeting, how you're implementing it in your own, and seeing a couple of you in the school group.